Hello, everyone. Mike here, and I'm a big fan of DC's post-crisis era, specifically the very early post-crisis. I think that era is probably my favorite versions of both Superman and Batman. So I decided today to talk about their first in-canon meeting in the post-crisis era, which takes place in Man of Steel #3. We're gonna take a look at the comic, discuss it some, and see what we think. But first, here's a little promo for another really good content creator that you should check out.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
And his name is
A damn fine cup of coffee.
Do you enjoy comic books? Do you perhaps enjoy reading said comics while also consuming a tasty beverage? Well, hello, my friend. I am the caffeinated Clinton Robinson, and I invite you to join me on the Coffee and Comics podcast, where I look at a random comic roughly in the span of time it takes to have a nice little coffee break. So if you enjoy casual comics discussion and references potentially even more dated and randomly strung together than the ones in this promo, be sure to check out the Coffee and Comics podcast, available on all the most brewtastic podcast apps.
drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another.
Hey, where are all my comic books?
And we're back. Okay, so Man of Steel #3. This, of course, was really our introduction to the new Superman. When when Crisis on Infinite Earths was done, and we were just getting started with the new post-crisis world, John Byrne was given the responsibility of introducing us to the new hard reboot of Superman, starting with the 6-issue Man of Steel series. And in #3, we're introduced to Batman. So let's get into the story. We open up this Superman comic with Batman, who is interrogating a thug. And right off, and this is something I'm probably going to talk about a lot, Batman is easier on this guy than modern interpretations would be. Yes, he's very intimidating, he's threatening, but modern day Batman would be just like breaking bones to get answers out of this guy, which is not something I'm personally a fan of. I think they've made Batman a little too brutal in modern day. Anyway, Superman arrives, and Superman and Batman do not get along. Superman sees Batman as a vigilante who's just as bad as the criminals, whereas he is a more deputized version of a hero. He's planning to take Batman in, but Batman reveals that there is a bomb. And if Superman touches him over the force field that he has around himself, the bomb will go off, killing an innocent person. It does make me wonder, was Batman just like having this force field around him like 24/7 just in case Superman showed up? I mean, this is the first time they're meeting, and Batman just happened to have this. It's kind of silly. Although I do like that even though they don't get along, we're not seeing them immediately like, I want to kill this person. As, again, kind of some modern tellings would do. So we cut now to our villain for the piece, Magpie. Not one of Batman's like bigger name villains, but she's had a few appearances. She, of course, is a woman who's obsessed with jewels and other such pretty things. And she has been stealing jewels from places and leaving little death traps. So when the owners of these jewels open the cases they're in, they end up killed. Batman and Superman manage to find her when Superman hears an explosion, which is Magpie killing off one of her goons who had failed her. Batman and Superman show up. Of course, the goons try to shoot Superman because, and I'll give credit. A lot of times it's like, why would people try to do that? We already know it doesn't work. This is still fairly early in Superman's time. So maybe some of the people in Gotham haven't quite gotten it yet. So acceptable. Meanwhile, Batman catches a goon that was trying to escape. But Magpie actually does manage to get away using a gas vial of some green poison gas. Now, Superman sucks the gas up, flies up into space, and blows it out. This, takes care of that, but while he's getting rid of the gas, Magpie managed to escape. But Batman, of course, being the Dark Knight detective that he is, notices a little fabric that was on her clothing. And using his crime lab that he has in the trunk of the not so much Batmobile yet. It was really just seemed like a normal car. It wasn't fully Batmobile yet. But anyway, his portable crime lab in the back he uses to figure out where the fabric came from, and thus where Magpie's hideout is. So Batman and Superman get to the hideout. They handle, again, the goons, and Superman manages to pretty much stop Magpie without physically hurting her because, why would he? She's not a threat to him, and he doesn't need to take her down physically in order to stop her. She kind of goes into a bit of a breakdown and really falls apart at this point. And Superman points out that, he feels bad for her, which is one of the things I like about him because I like the big blue Boy Scout. I like a Superman who's kind and who really cares about people. And he really feels bad for her. And then there's Batman's response. And I love this. This is actually the main reason I wanted to talk about this comic. I want to give you his exact quote that he says when Superman says he feels sorry for her. Batman says to him,
You think I don't? She's not a real criminal. Not like the kind of gutter slime I've dedicated myself to destroying. She's just a frail human psyche. An unbalanced id that got pushed too far. You saw the psychological profile in her record. A little girl who loved pretty things, a trifle too much perhaps. Who was taunted and called Magpie because of it. Who educated herself, became curator of one of the nation's leading museums, and found herself having to watch over pretty things she could never possess. Yes, I feel sorry for her, Superman, but I feel more sorry for her victims.
I love this for multiple reasons. First, he doesn't see Magpie as a scumbag criminal that he needs to stop and beat up and all of that. He realizes she has mental issues. She needs help. He's not just going in there looking to kick her butt like he does with, others. Like he even says there, she's not like a lot of the villains that he's dealt with. People like, the Joker, or I'm trying to think at this point in the timeline, possibly Hugo Strange, I think, might have been around at this point. But it's one thing that I feel modern Batman really struggles with. They have made him so brutal and so just unlikable. To the point where a lot of writers seem to have a mindset of Batman has the no-kill rule. How far can we go without having him kill someone? So it's like, yeah, Batman isn't going to kill anyone, but they're going to be, eating their meals through a straw for the rest of their life. Heck, there's videos that make fun of how needlessly brutal modern Batman has become. And that's one of the things I like about this Batman. He will intimidate. He will threaten. If the situation is right, he will beat the crap out of somebody. But he's not gonna brutalize people. He's not gonna be maiming people. He does what he needs to do to stop them, but no more. Modern Batman, I think, is way too excessive. The other thing that I love about this quote is the ending of it. Yes, I feel sorry for her, Superman, but I feel more sorry for her victims. Modern storytelling loves to sympathize with villains. These days, we're taking a lot of, classic villains and we're giving them sympathetic backstories. We're trying to make them more likable. And then people try to make it seem like the things they've done are okay because look what happened. A good example of this is in the anime My Hero Academia. We look at people like Toga and Dabi, two people who had horrible upbringings. They had a lot of bad things happen to them that probably played a lot into what they became as they got older. But they still hurt a lot of people. So many fans are constantly like, I love this character. It's not her fault. We should be more sympathetic towards her. And the thing is, yes, she suffered a lot, and it's sad that she did. But she still hurt and killed a lot of people. We should be having a little more sympathy for them. And it's something brought up here that I feel really showcases the type of Batman character that I really like. Anyway, Magpie is taken in, and Batman is ready to go home. He hasn't slept in like 4 days and is, exhausted. But Superman brings up a reminder, hey, what about that bomb you mentioned? And then Batman proceeds to pull the bomb out of his utility belt and give it to Superman, revealing that the innocent life was his own. And there are a lot of things people might say about this particular point. One, well, why didn't Superman, X-ray vision Batman and thus realize that the bomb was on him? Well, there's a couple things here, and admittedly, some of it is going into the kind of Marvel-ish no prize. But one, Superman doesn't just use his X-ray vision willy-nilly. Yes, he could come in and immediately X-ray vision Batman, find out he's Bruce Wayne, see what he's got. But Superman isn't the type of character that's just going to rely on his X-ray vision for everything. He's not even necessarily going to think about it. I mean, Batman said there was a bomb somewhere and an innocent life would be hurt if he didn't, if he touched it. Superman, why would he think that the bomb is on Batman? So what reason would he have to use his X-ray vision? But if you want further idea, who's to say Batman's utility belt isn't lead lined? And thus, Superman wouldn't be able to see through it. And I'm not even suggesting, oh, he had his belt lead lined so Superman couldn't see it. No. Batman has a lot of stuff in his utility belt. I would not be surprised if there's something in that utility belt that might be radioactive. As such, he would want that belt to be lead lined so that if he has something radioactive in the belt, it will protect him. Thus, he has the bomb, he has it lead lined, Superman can't see it. Not some big Batman prep time thing where he knew Superman would come, so he made sure his belt was lead lined. Again, we don't even know how much Batman knows about Superman. Yes, Batman, I'm sure, did a lot of research. He proves in the earlier part of the story that he knows Superman. But does he necessarily know that he has X-ray vision? Maybe, maybe not. It again brings up the question, why did Batman have that bomb on him all this time? How would he know that Superman was going to, at some point, show up? I mean, to me, that's the only really kind of ridiculous part is how long was Batman having that force field around him? How long did he have that bomb in his utility belt? How long was he waiting for Superman to show up for this situation? It's an interesting thought. Anyway, Superman, flies off, realizing that he's not really keen on Batman's methods, but he can see that Gotham is very different from Metropolis, and maybe Gotham needs a darker, rougher version to handle it. So they separate. Batman makes a little nod to pre-crisis by suggesting that in another time, oh, excuse me, I should do this properly.
In another time, we could have been friends.
And thus ends the story. I like this story. I talked throughout about what I love about it. I love the portrayal of Superman. I love the portrayal of Batman. I like Magpie as a villain who isn't, that, crazy supervillain like a Joker, Penguin, Two-Face, the Riddler. She's somebody who clearly is just disturbed and needs help, not a beating. I think a lot of the Batman villains, even if Arkham were a good asylum, would probably still not get better. I think it would be possible for someone like Magpie to get better if she were able to receive the proper help. Unfortunately, as Arkham Asylum, she's not going to get that proper help, but yeah, this is a good example of what I love about the early post-crisis. I love the portrayal of the characters. I love the stories they tell. This, in my opinion, is a really good first-time meeting for Superman and Batman. All right, that's all I've got on this one. If you liked this video, please give me a like and subscribe. It does a lot